arts in itself actually enables so much more to go on than just the activity. So it's really helpful that we don't have to just focus on one arts activity. Arts is so broad, and actually things like storytelling and using kind of physical theatre as ways of connecting people to their own stories have been hugely valuable in helping people to reflect and to understand their own experiences in a bigger context.
And I really wanted to engage the local community in a cultural offer because I knew the impact it had on me. So I started working with people that lived locally, didn't really have much connection in arts and culture. And then people that I knew that were going through stuff were like saying, oh gosh, Sarah, I love this museum stuff. Museums can change people's lives. And then more recently, been involved a little bit with the Binding Pages project, more as a kind of referral mechanism. So obviously we support, at the moment, we're supporting about 500 people in North Birmingham on a one-to-one basis. So it's a small team of 4 wellbeing officers, and we support people with the whole gamut of well-being. So it could be financial health, mental health, physical health, relationships. So we kind of, put people forward, and they have loved it. One of the participants, lady with really, really high anxiety, talks non-stop. She can talk for England. She said to me, do you know what, Sarah? In a whole hour, I didn't say a word. Do you know why? Because I was focused on making the stuff, and I just felt absolutely great. There was a nice pin dropped. Now she goes, for me, it's something not to talk. And she said that when she was making and creating things, her anxiety just faded away because it gave her something else to think about, something else to focus on. And so there were about 7 or 8 people in the Binding Pages group during the summer. Probably about 5 of them we referred. But that 8 people have formed quite solid friendships, and when there was a little break in the summer, they were going to each other's house for coffee. 3 of them went on holiday together, so it really did bring people together and reduce that isolation.
There's something about creativity that's innate and that you've always done, and something that I learned while I was at university actually, that playing is a serious business, and playing leads to creativity. So play and creativity is literally a serious business, in that the work that it does without you actually knowing, something happens inside of you, and you can sort of lose yourself, and you can become immersed in anything. And the beauty of it is you can do it with anything. You can be outside sitting in the park and you can create some art just with the dirt, and I've done that. Do you know what I mean? You can go into your recycling bin and you can do something there. There's so much pleasure in creating something. There's so much pleasure that you get just from dancing in your kitchen. That dancing, that moving, it just gets your blood flowing, it helps with endorphins, it does something. And why does it do it? How does it do it? I don't know. But what I do know is that Indigenous communities have known that dancing, singing and art stuff help, and it works. And you can do it anywhere, preferably in a group if you can, but you can do it on your own, but it just does something for you.
Recently we've used them in more of singing sessions. We've had a performance group called Wings. They're like a local stage school, and it's helped support those who've gone through recent bereavements, just sort of rediscover themselves, and it's an opportunity for them just to sort of regress essentially and just let the big kid out of you. I think it's a great format. If they're essentially script writing, they can essentially express themselves without fear of being judged, ridiculed, and it's essentially a platform where they can express themselves and expose every sort of feeling that they're going through without feeling like they're contained.
I think there's massive benefits, and I know that because I've seen the proof. Just taking the example of the Binding Arts project, when I started I found the participants were very, very sort of enclosed, didn't really seem very positive about themselves and self-image, were very reluctant in engaging in the arts and their self-confidence with the arts, and really weren't integrating with other participants. Within the first week we started our drawing sessions, and we had to break down barriers, and this is where I think the difference was made. There was a lot of I can't, and that's all I could hear. I can't. I've been told when I was in school, and we're talking about the over 55 group, so we had people in their 60s and 70s that had been told in school that they can't draw, that what they're drawing is wrong, and this is not the correct way to do things. So we had to break down in the first session all those barriers, that there is no such thing as can't, that you can do it. And through practice, their own practice and engaging and support and encouragement, they realised that they actually could. And all the things that they've been told in their youth were incorrect. Also what came through there, which was fascinating, was that in the first week so many people had come up with, I wanted to study but I wasn't allowed to. And it wouldn't be a kind of group or category that you would assume it would be. It wasn't like an Eastern culture said you're not allowed to go to school or things like that. It was, a sort of, British middle class, working class people who were told in their generation that girls don't need to go to school. So we had to deal with things like that. We also worked with participants with severe learning and developmental difficulties. So there wasn't always communication, but there was communication through art. And again, it was breaking down barriers, teaching them that they could, and also supporting their carers, because their carers would come with them. The carers would see how we teach and how we work with participants, and that would be a demonstration for them. So they're learning as well, and they would also participate. And once they would see us modelling how you engage with people, how you teach them arts, how you encourage them, the kind of language you use, they were then able, when you move to a different participant, they were able to practice that with the person they're caring for. So I think it's had massive benefits. So in terms of isolation, feeling depressed and lonely, by the second week, people had chosen groups to sit with, which was amazing. People were talking across the table and engaging and talking through the sessions, whereas the first session was quite quiet. People were coming up to me, staying after the sessions, asking, can they come in the afternoon session as well? And of course I said, that's fine, we had enough space, we had enough materials. Can they continue their work? So that already showed progress, that showed they were coming out of their shells, and they weren't as isolated in the sessions. Obviously, then the next stage is bringing that lack of isolation into their own life.